Hi everyone, welcome to my Sao Miguel vacation itinerary video. Today, I'm going to talk about all the best things to do when visiting the luscious, tropical Portuguese island of Sao Miguel. This island is the birthplace and home of my amazing late father, my grandparents, and a bunch of uncles, aunts, and cousins. I've been to Sao Miguel 3 times so far, and definitely have many more visits to come. This tiny island, that runs only 90 kilometers total from the west end to the east, has so much to offer, from the luscious hilltops to volcanoes and steaming hot geysers. If nature is your thing, there are a ton of excellent hikes on the island that lead you to all sorts of waterfalls and landscapes, but today I'm going to talk about and suggest some of the great things that I have had the privilege to experience. Starting from the west end of the island, you have none other than the volcanic complex of Sete Cidades. There are several active volcanoes in Sao Miguel, but one of them is in Sete Cidades. We jumped on our Vespas and headed right to the top of the mountainous hills to check out some of the greatest viewpoints possible. In Sete Cidades, you could rent a kayak, rent a bicycle, or just simply take a hike through the luscious greenery in and around the famous lagoons, most notably the Twin Crater Lakes, which sit side by side. You have Lagoa Azul and Lagoa Verde, which are the largest freshwater reservoirs in the Azores. These lakes were created by the explosive eruptions and the collapse of the local stratovolcano and are known for their distinct change of color, considering these 2 lakes sit side by side. One of them is filled with a crystal blue water, while the other is filled with an emerald green. They are quite the sight to see. After you've taken in all the viewpoints, a few other notable attractions in Sete Cidades are their famous little village, where you can try some of the local cuisine, and the eerie abandoned Monte Palace Hotel, where you're free to explore, although it is technically private property. Once you're done with the volcanic hilltops, take the coastal highway 1A and head east towards the main city of San Miguel, Ponta Delgada. Before you get there, make sure you stop in the cute little town of Helva to take in some of the best views of the island. Along your way, make sure you keep an eye out for some of the local traffic, as these big guys can pop out at any time. They came absolutely out of nowhere. In Ponta Delgada, find a place to park your car or your Vespa and just get lost in the charming island town. There's a ton to see, from the medieval-looking Gothic churches to the bustling waterfront area, where you'll find an abundance of restaurants and shops. So go nuts, try something new. And if you want my recommendation, make sure you try some of the delicious local lapage. These were absolutely great. You can also do a highly recommended whale watching tour or stroll through one of the many botanical gardens. But on top of it all, I really enjoyed one of the simpler things to do in Ponta Delgada, which was taking a seat in the main town square. Here, we had a couple of espressos, some famous Portuguese peixe de natas, and of course, a few cervejas. We just sat back, enjoyed the heat, the beers, and all the sights around us. We were also lucky enough to be visiting the Portuguese islands during the FIFA World Cup. So during game times, we watched with the local crowds and cheered on Ronaldo and the boys. Now it was time to head out to the town of Lagoa, where I stayed for most of my trip. I was lucky enough to have some friends that are from this town, so I planned my trip around their famous São Pedro Festa at the end of June and early July. And this festa, aka festival, did not disappoint. Night number 1 started off with a live concert, fireworks, and plenty of drinks to go around outside of their famous Nossa Senhora do Rosario church. The vibe was electric, and little did I know that each night would get even better. Night number 2 started off with a real dose of the local culture, as they ran a live cattle auction right in the city streets, with, of course, lots of drinks and food available once again. Later on that night, the generously purchased and donated cows and pigs were prepared for the next night's feast. We were lucky to attend this ceremony firsthand, help out, and take part in this wild tradition all night long. And then finally, night number 3 was the big feast and celebration. There was live music, traditional folk dancing, bifana sandwiches, a ton of Portuguese food and sweets, and of course, drinks for everyone. It was such a great night, and I was so happy that I decided to stay in this town during this festa. It was a 3-day extravaganza, and then afterwards, I headed east to my family's hometown, Villafranca de Campo. This town is a must-see for everyone that visits Sao Miguel, as there is a ton to do and it is just so gorgeous. First off, take in the views of the distant Iliao. This little islet is a natural, uninhabited paradise where you can snorkel to, see all sorts of tropical fish, stingrays, and octopus, soak in the hot sun rays, or just take a refreshing swim in the lagoon. Another famous site of Villafranca is their infamous chapel of Nossa Senhora de Paz, Our Lady of Peace. This is one of the nicest churches you will ever see, sitting at the top of the Villafranca hills, and once you climb to the top, you will also get an amazing view of the town. Down by the marina, you can go whale watching, explore the numerous gardens, get a ton of local food and drinks. My favorite place to go is the one and only Queijada de Vila Bakery and Cafe. Once you try one of these, you'll never go back to the traditional pastel de nata. You could even buy a box or two to bring home with you. After you're done indulging, head east once again to the island's famous Furnish, which is a volcanic valley of hot springs, geysers, and calderas. Here, you could take a dip in the thermal pools of the Terra Nostra Park while enjoying the gorgeous botanical gardens. You could eat some of the town's famous cozido de Furnish, which is a traditional Portuguese stew, buried and cooked underground using natural volcanic heat. You can visit all the bubbling geysers and calderas, the Furnace Crater Lake, and enjoy some of the famous volcanic purple tea. The options are endless at the Furnace and a must-see. Lastly, continue on to the far east corner of the island, where you have none other than Nordeste. Here, you have unmatched beauty everywhere, from amazing cliffside viewpoints to waterfalls, luscious walking trails, and rivers. And make sure to check out the Ribeira do Calderas Natural Park and the Farol do Arnel Lighthouse. For a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, Sao Miguel really packs a punch. You can soak in the rays on the beaches almost everywhere, swim, snorkel, and scuba dive until your heart's content, take in all the local marine wildlife with the abundance of whale and dolphin watching tours, enjoy luscious hilltops covered in hydrangea flowers, surrounding some of the most beautiful lagoons, be astonished by the natural geothermic phenomena of the Furnace, indulge in some amazing local cuisine, both sweet and savory, and enjoy the super chill vibes of the authentic European island towns, villages, churches, and gardens. Do yourself a favor and plan your next trip to Sao Miguel, Azores, the Portuguese islands. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped. Please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for my next wild adventure.